When the hunger for domination that lives in the essence of the masculine is relegated to the shadows, it becomes perpetration and violence. When the longing for submission that is at the heart of the feminine is relegated to the shadows, it becomes victimhood. How do we make conscious and reverential these energies? And I have to admit something up front. I don't have any answers. Only burning questions, but I refuse to pander to the pressure of asking lesser questions for a fear of rejection. You see, I want to create a culture of consent. Consent as deep respect for the autonomy and sovereignty of every being I see, including me. Consent as recognition that the position of my freedom is not isolation, but integration. Part of a fabric of connection to which my needs are beholden. A fabric of interdependence so vast, yet so intimately woven. Sovereign and interdependent. Masculine and feminine. The tightrope we walk knowing that at the end of the day, my needs are my responsibility to get met. But you can bet that I won't meet them alone. And consent is the syntax of coming home to true collaboration. But what about the part of the masculine that hungers for domination and that yearning in the feminine for submission? Because if we're on a mission to dialectically transcend the abuses and mistrust between us, between men and women and non-binary kin who all have both masculine and feminine dancing within and between us, then I think we must come to terms with these urges. And search out like surgeons, like a medicine that purges the structures of mind that define unrefined the meaning of power, the use and design that has been stamped there in the tender, elastic tendrils of neurons and dendrites unseen by the ubiquitous patriarchal machine. I mean, we are inheritors of thousands of years of the power of the feminine dismantled and feared. We are the inheritors of a crisis that started before the temples of Isis were broken. And while Adam is still choking on that apple that he ate but never swallowed, and blames it on his mate, still wallows in resentment and seeks vengeance, we still think in the syntax of good man and evil temptress. We are trying to imagine a world reinvented in a language fermented in oppression. So when I ask the question about where the primal urges of domination and submission and their conscious, consensual expression fit in the reverential world of our emerging creation, there's some tension. Did I mention that I am a lifetime feminist turned synergist? That I've spent the best part of my life committed to nonviolence, carefully following the footsteps of Gandhi and King? That I spent a decade mistrusting my masculine, cultivating softness and yin, keeping that violent bastard in check? Would you guess by just looking that part of what's been cooking my soul in this drama is sexual trauma? Handed me in the bloom of my puberty through a drug-induced gap in memory by a man I trusted like family. Does that make me a victim? No. I'm a fucking thriving survivor. I fought that demon and I licked him. But I know what it's like to live with a dagger in my nervous system. Reflexive resistance to real love and intimacy. This uninvited certainty that this really isn't what it seems to be, that no matter how convincingly she says to me and shows to me that she loves me and it is free, it ain't. Because trust just isn't safe. So back to the question I'm aching to answer. Out beyond the ravages of that cultural cancer, about this taking and being taken dance. Sure. In postmodern discussion, it may have a bad name, but dominance and submission is a dangerous game that at the end of the day, we're all still gonna play. It won't just be put away. Older than the patriarchy, deep inside our DNA, this elemental impulse throbbing against the loneliness in our sovereignty to relinquish our consent to another being consensually. The feminine within longing to release this burden of keeping orderly the magnificent, chaotic mystery of her oceanic essence. Not just surrender to some abstract notion like compassion or love, submission to the trusted power of a concrete other. Oh, brother. Let us not forget that glorious hunger, that thunder clapping in the underworld of the masculine essence, that fierce primal drive to enforce my preference. Not merely control of an object, but domination of a subjective presence. Entrusted, consensual, reverent, personal, unleashed, connected. So how do we embrace these exquisite polarities consciously? How do we think trans-patriarchally, redefine power in a non-zero sum abundancy, and revel together in this consensual electricity? How do we honor the raw vulnerability of masculine domination, see the risk in that demonstration? How do we witness without inherited derision the true feminine power engendered in submission? I don't know either. But before you judge and other me, I ask humbly for your companionship in this process of discovery.